What's up, y'all? Welcome to Gratified Grad, where it's my goal to help you graduate with gratification. Today's video is going to be a review, or I'm basically just going to redo my keynote talk. So I recently was a keynote speaker for one of the Welcome Bank events at the university, and the information that I gave is valuable to all students. So I figured why not share it with the community. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and get started in the presentation. It was about mental health in grad school, so let's talk about it. A little bit about me. You've seen this part before if you've seen my last presentation of me being from Mobile, Alabama, a sixth year. I use C elegance to identify and understand metabolic changes associated with muscle dysfunction, and I'm a part of DGSA, GWIZ, and minority graduate students in STEM, amongst other organizations and things, but those are the ones that we're focusing on for this discussion. So what have you heard about graduate school? In doing this, I received answers such as it's a stressful time period, it's a time to learn, a time to live, it is a lot of work, requires a lot of studying, and a bunch of things. And so my three things that really stand out to me is that I was told prepare to drink coffee, prepare not to be able to see friends and family as often as you may like, and prepare to be at a financial loss. Because statistics is important and knowing what is the current data out there is important. I just want to show this figure from an article posted in the Nature Biotechnology. And it's basically talking about anxiety and depression in graduate school. And it's breaking it down based on gender, as well as just total population of the students surveyed, as well as a couple of other things. But just to point out, 41% of students experience anxiety and 39% experience depression. When you break it down by percentage, according to this population of people, male students experience 34% in anxiety, female students experience 43%, and transgender students experience 55%. And it's that same trend when you look at depression. And so another thing that they look about is whether or not students feel like their work-life balance is healthy or unhealthy. And once again, sadly, a good number of students, over 50% of students, experience an unhealthy work-life balance. And so this figure alone, or this panel within the figure alone, shows why this conversation is so important. We want to minimize that number, right? Like I would love to see it flip and have 24% and 21% of students experiencing an unhealthy work-life balance in grad school rather than the other way around. Put me out of a job. And so anxiety and depression, and also look at what things contribute to anxiety and depression and what can help them. So providing mentorship, having support, knowing the positive emotional impact that you have around you. Is this an asset to what you want to do with the rest of your life? Do you feel the value of what you're doing with the rest of your life? And do you feel that you're valued by your mentor? So during my first year of graduate school, I had great mentors, a social life, and great physical health. I also experienced imposter syndrome, panic attacks, and stereotype threats. So for me to experience both of these things, right, it one raises awareness to just because the student looks like they're doing great on the outside does not mean that they are not having concerns and experiencing something totally different on the inside. And so, how did I begin to thrive? Well, it was a process. I would say it's a process, a journey that I'm still on to this day. And I constantly loop through these steps that I've listed here. So I realize my habits and I hold myself accountable. I seek resources that have more knowledge than myself. So not only do I talk to peers, but I also go to professionals. I build confidence where I'm most comfortable. And that's where you really take into account that the little things matter. Having those little wins, setting those small goals boosts confidence, and it helps you get to the point where you're comfortable with moving forward and tackling those larger goals and those larger things. And then always extending grace to myself. If I don't meet a goal, if I don't do exactly what I set out to do, that's okay. I'm not a robot. I do not function at the same level every single day. And a good day looks different every single day. So that's why it's really important to extend grace to yourself and allow yourself to be a human being, to work through wherever you are in life and be a holistic person so that you can have holistic well being. And so getting into the aspects of living a holistically healthy lifestyle that I think are important is intrapersonal, physical, intellectual, spiritual, financial, and career. So having a bit of a harmonious experience between each of these aspects, depending on you, right? Everyone is different. Everyone has their unique needs, can help you feel fulfilled and live a healthy lifestyle. And so through this presentation, I'm just going to give you some ideas on things that you can do to give yourself that holistically healthy lifestyle that you're looking to achieve. And so first, I paid attention to my circle of people. I found my community. I engaged in activities that allowed me to feel as if I was being fulfilled. And I also exposed myself to new experiences so that I could feel as if I was a well-rounded person and I was getting to stretch myself and having new experiences. Ways of doing this as a graduate student is seeking out the organization central hub, I guess you could call it. So for us, at Penn State, there's a website called Org Central. I'm sure at other universities and institutions, they have some centralized location where you can go find all of the university organizations and figure out what fits you best. Conferences are also a great way of finding people and engaging in discovering new communities. I recently went to an Octavia Butler conference and I found a new community for myself. And we have a book club and we read Octavia Butler books. And that community fulfills a side of me or a part of me that the sciences could never do. And that's okay. That's why you seek out these new groups to be around. Then I paid attention to self-talk, so that intrapersonal relationship, and I made myself available for reflection. If I experienced something that didn't sit well for me, didn't sit well with me, I would sit with myself and either journal it out or just have a conversation with myself and ask, what's going on? Why are we feeling upset? And it's really important that in this process, you figure out what you need in that moment and that you are intentional with the decisions that you make. More often than not, when we're upset, we just seek to do whatever. It's not that intentional. And sometimes even the actions that we take can be more harmful down the line than it can be helpful to our healing and to our moving process and moving forward. Also seeking professional help when you just don't know what to do. And that can be books or seeing therapists or a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Whatever resources you have available to you, take advantage of them. Two of the books that I found have been helpful in my self-talk and working through things has been Whistling Vivaldi by Dr. Claude M. Steele, where he talks about stereotype threats and how his work really shows that it does have an impact on students. And then Mastery by Robert Greene, which was very helpful in showing the process of just developing as a human being, right? So while you're in graduate school, you're still developing. You're in your mid or late 20s, maybe even late 30s, wherever you are, you're still developing as a person. And so graduate school is a layer on top of your development as a person. And therefore, you can't just only pay attention to graduate school. You have to think about the development as a person as well. And so I've mentioned journaling. I have this picture here. These are journals that date back to 2002. I have a couple of other books outside of these, but I go back and read them sometimes. I have patterns that I've noticed about myself over the years from being able to go back and read and see how did I think, how did I respond to things. And I've also noticed my growth. CAPS in Psychological Services is a resource on Penn State's campus, as well as the Her Clinic. I started running, I started doing yoga, and I, for a moment, got a dog, all to feed into the physical well-being of myself. Other things that you could do is understanding your health benefits. Have you scheduled your routine physicals? Do you know how many doctor's appointments you can get a year? Do you know what other appointments you can schedule for yourself? Like, I have a chiropractor that's covered under my insurance. I also go get a massage that's not covered under my insurance, but I still can't forego my massages. Getting your heart rate up at least once a day. So that's either, running or yoga or, just moving around, doing yard work, just finding some way to get active, making healthier eating choices. Exchange those chips for some popcorn, not the overly salted or the chocolate and the caramel, but just some popcorn. Popcorn on its own is healthy. Do your research to understand, some of those healthy alternatives to the processed foods. And most importantly, rest when you need to. This goes back to listening to yourself, listening to your body, asking yourself what you need. Rest is a part of your physical well-being because your body needs to take time to heal, right? Can put trauma. Running can put stress on the body, on the muscles. That's where you get sore muscles and things like that. So taking that time to rest is also important. Penn State has an amazing recreation center, fitness and wellness center, where they have so many different resources available, be it a nutritionist to some stress tests to meditation room. So take advantage, seek out what the university has to offer for you. And a little plug to myself here. Actually, currently I'm teaching yoga at the Yoga Lab, which is located in downtown State College on McAllister. I teach a beginners or level 1 yoga class called the Liminal Space every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. So feel free to join if you would like to get a good, relaxing yoga experience that will help you sleep like a baby. Set meaningful financial goals for yourself. Give yourself things that you actually care about to, strive for. For me, owning a home was something that I really wanted to do. And so that was one of the financial goals that I set for myself when I first moved to State College. And it started with having a budget and then being aware of my spending habits and having those savings goals. I also was able to take a trip to Iceland because that year I saved money every single month to go into my travel fund. And so a resource at Penn State that's very helpful with that is the Financial and Life Skills Center that's located in the Grange building on Penn State campus. So check them out. They'll give you a one-on-one consultant that can help you with whatever financial venture you're trying to start. Being a graduate student, right? So now we're getting into just, the career aspect of having a holistically healthy lifestyle. Having a healthy workload, which is defined by you and your advisor. I put emphasis on the you because more often than not, students feel like they can't say, can I have Sundays off to myself? Or can I have Saturdays and Sundays off to myself? Or can we have this flex model where, maybe you work every single day of the week, but you work 5 hours every single day of the week. Just having that conversation and determining what workload is best for you. Help your future self out by networking now. Connect with the administrative individuals such as the dean of the graduate school, the ombuds person, multicultural leaders, the Office of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. figuring out who these people are and what is your relationship to them and your future career goals. On Penn State's campus, we have the Bank of America Career Services Center that is a really good resource, as well as a writing center where you can go and actually get coached on your writing style so that your writing style itself can be improved. So they don't just do the basic grammatical check here and there. No, they actually look at how you are as a writer and then give you tips on how you can become a better writer. So taking advantage of these resources can be super helpful. In terms of the intellectual well-being, I started reading books for pleasure again. As a child, I was a bookworm and I loved to read. And I got away from it, but now I'm back to it. And so I read books, I read news articles, and I have conversations with other graduate students that I have like literally scheduled on my calendar, and we meet whether it's weekly, monthly, and we just have topics of discussion that are going on in our lives today. As a Penn State student, you have free online access to the New York Times as well as to the Center Daily Times. And so just to stay up on what's going on in the area and your environment and just in the world in general, you can sign up for free to these newsletter outlets. Keeping in mind my greater purpose, and this became very important on those days where I was just feeling like, why am I here? What am I doing? Can I do this? And it's that connection to your future goals and your aspirations, and that, or it can be that connection to your choice of a greater being. Like, what is it that's greater than you that has you here, right? What is it that keeps you here, keeps you wanting to continue to figure this out and knowing your why? It's so important to know why, to remember why you started this journey, why you're doing this. So that once again, when you get to those days where you're like, I quit, you can always remind yourself of, I did this for a reason. I'm doing this for a reason. And so a resource here is the Center for Spiritual and Ethical Development. And that's the Pastoral Spiritual Center, and it's located across from the library on Penn State's campus. So how do I utilize PSU resources? Once again, I visit the Pastoral Spiritual Center for meditation practices. They have rooms where you can just literally sit and schedule times to meditate or do yoga. I visit CAPS, and I've gone to some of their life hacks. And I was actually recently a participant in one of their clinics where they go through different strategies that you can undertake to, for example, have better relationships. I signed up for all the listservs my first year, all the listservs that I could possibly sign up for. And then I take the time to schedule in my calendar a couple of events a week that I can go to and have some of this social interaction with people. I have a person who I work with in the Financial Literacy Center who actually helped me figure out about high yield savings accounts and how I plan to get a little bit into investing. And so talking about what do I want to invest in, what am I valuing that would be making me feel like I'm utilizing my money for a good purpose. The Penn State Library has so many valuable events, and they also have a free streaming site called Canopy, where there's tons of documentaries available for viewing. Pilates, I really enjoy Pilates. I'm a yoga instructor, but I really enjoy taking Pilates classes. And so fitness and wellness for the Pilates classes is something that I definitely enjoy doing. And with career services, you can create a Lion Link account, and that matches you with a Penn State alum that is in the field that you're interested in going to. Actually, you can even go even more deeper in that. That's in the job that you're interested in, or in the career position or on the career track that you're interested in going into. And so there's so many more resources outside of what I've outlined here, but it's definitely possible to pick one area and start today. Just one. Just one. And so just to take it back to thinking about mental health therapy and what is the realness of this? Because for me and my community, the Black community, going to mental health therapy is not, um, it's stereotyped. It's not a common thing that you will see people doing. And so I thought about going to therapy for a while. It actually took me 13 years before I actually went to my first therapy session, mental health therapy session. But doing all of the different things that we just talked about and building my holistic wellness in all these different areas gave me the courage to say that I could finally go to therapy. Now, do you need to be confident or to be good at anything to go to therapy? No, you don't. You really don't. But for me, in my situation, in my transition, before I could actually get to going to therapy, I felt like I needed to do something and get something going for myself. But I will repeat, you do not need to do any of this to go to mental health therapy. You can go to mental health therapy tomorrow as you are. And actually, if you're a Penn State student, Penn State offers 6 free sessions. So take advantage of that. Go to your first mental health therapy session. And I once again want to emphasize that you will not be able to do all of these different things at once, right? Pick one. Pick an area that you're comfortable with, that you're semi-confident with. Build some skills there. Like I said earlier, the little wins count. So picking one area and then stepping out and branching into a new area. And that's how you start to really build a stable foundation and branch out to different areas in life. So once again, I'm just showing you the 7 areas that I think are really important to living a healthy, holistic lifestyle. Are you picking one that you're comfortable with? And actually for me, oddly enough, I started with a mix of interpersonal and financial. And those two I felt fairly okay in. So you can figure out one or two and start building today. I have a YouTube channel called Gratified Grad, and it's also a business where I work with students and helping students, or at least one part of it is working with students, helping students to build a holistically healthy lifestyle. If you would like, you can book a 15-minute consultation with me and we can talk a little bit more to figure out if my services are beneficial to you or helpful to you. If you would like, you can start by signing up for a yoga class. We can just figure this thing out, and the healthy is you. Getting you to being the healthiest you is what matters to me. Thank you for your attention in this presentation, and let's chat and graduate with gratification. See ya.